All right, let's jump right in. We have all been there, right? That moment at work where a simple disagreement suddenly feels like it's about to turn into an all-out fight. But what if I told you we've been thinking about this all wrong? Today, we're going to completely reframe how we look at conflict in the workplace. And this right here, this slide, nails the problem perfectly. We treat office disagreements like a street fight. It's all about shouting, maybe not throwing fists, but definitely trying to defeat your opponent. But the workplace? That's a totally different game. It's about words, it's about strategy, and most importantly, the goal isn't to crush someone, it's to move the work forward. And let's be real, these office street fights feel like they're impossible to avoid. Because they kind of are. It doesn't matter how nice or easygoing you are. As long as you have responsibility in a company, your interests are, sooner or later, gonna clash with someone else's. It's not a personal failing, It's just baked into the system. So, this is the most critical mindset shift you can possibly make. If you walk into a conflict thinking, I have to defeat this person, you've already lost. You've lost sight of the real prize. The only victory that actually means anything in a professional setting is making progress on your work. Period. This leads us to a whole new way of playing the game, with a completely different set of rules. You see, winning here isn't about being the loudest person in the meeting or the most aggressive. It's a quiet, calculated game of strategy. And here's the secret. Victory in any workplace clash, whether it's big or small, really just boils down to two things. That's it. Everything else is just noise. And these two things have nothing to do with being physically strong or having a booming voice. Now, what we're talking about are two specific skills that, once you master them, separate the real strategists from everyone else who's just getting dragged into the drama. Okay, so let's break down the first skill, the ability to read the mind. Now, hold on, this isn't about being a psychic or anything like that. It's about mastering psychological strategy. We're talking about creating what this explainer calls a map of the mind. It just means getting a real handle on what the other person is afraid of, what they actually care about, and what they really, really want. Once you have that map, you know exactly how to navigate the conversation, and you can often avoid a big fight altogether. And this shows you exactly how you build that map. The absolute key is to stay calm, especially when the other person is starting to get emotional. That's your chance to just watch and listen. Pay attention to their tone, the specific words they use, and even what they don't say. That silence can tell you a lot. This is how you take control of the situation and find a path forward without getting sucked into the heat of the moment. Now, let's see how that psychological insight gets supercharged when you combine it with the second skill, knowing how to use your resources. If skill 1 was all about psychology, this one is about cold, hard logic. The practical power of deciding where to put your energy. At work, you've really only got 4 key resources to play with: your time, your team, the information you have access to, and your budget. Believe it or not, the outcome of almost any conflict is decided by where you choose to invest those things. Being strategic means knowing exactly when to push your chips in and when to hold back. History gives us a perfect model for this in the Japanese Prime Minister Kikuei Tanaka. He was an absolute master of this skill, and this quote says it all. He knew that it wasn't about spending a lot. It was about spending decisively at the exact right moment. And there it is. Tanaka's incredible success came from combining these two skills we're talking about. He could read people like a book, he had that map of the mind, and he paired it with a razor-sharp instinct for where to use his political capital and resources. It's a 1-2 punch that's been proven to work. And that brings us to the ultimate goal, right? Winning without ever really having to fight. Because a workplace conflict isn't a battle of emotions. It's a contest of rationality. It's about becoming a strategist at work. And the best part is, anyone can learn how to do this. So here you go. Your strategic toolkit boiled down to 3 simple steps. 1. Reframe the battle. Remember, it's about progress, not domination. 2. Master the psychology. Get good at mapping the other person's mind. And 3. Be smart with your resources. Invest them where they'll have the biggest impact. And if you remember anything, remember this. You don't win by being loud or forceful. You win through quiet insight and calm preparation. We're not in an age of power anymore. We are in an age of strategy. So the next time you feel a conflict brewing at work, don't dread it. See it for what it is, an opportunity. The only question is, are you going to fight or are you going to strategize?